All right, so today we're diving deep into the life of Dr. Sooranad Rajasekharan, a fascinating figure who recently passed away
Yeah.
in Kochi just this past April
Mhm.
at the age of 75.
Wow.
And when you kind of start piecing together his journey, it's really quite remarkable.
Yeah.
You've got this individual who is a politician, a journalist, a leader in the cooperative sector, and even an author.
Right. Yeah.
And it begs the question, how does one person manage to navigate such diverse landscapes and leave a mark, in so many different fields?
Well, I think when you look at where he came from, right, coming from a humble background in Kollam,
Right.
and then you see this engagement across these varied sectors,
Yeah.
it really speaks to, I think, a powerful drive and a deep commitment to
Yeah,
public life.
absolutely.
It makes you wonder about the underlying principles that guided such a multifaceted career.
Yeah, his early days seem really pivotal.
Mhm.
Back in the late 1960s at DB College in Kollam,
Mm.
it wasn't just about hitting the books for the young Rajasekharan, right?
Yeah.
He was deeply involved in the Kerala Students' Union, the KSU.
Right, right.
And from all accounts, he wasn't just a member, he was a real activist climbing the ranks to a state-level position.
Oh, wow.
And it makes me think about that period. The KSU was such an influential force, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It served as this training ground for so many of Kerala's future political leaders.
It's a really insightful point you make there because the Kerala Students' Union has historically been a highly influential student organization
Right.
and often acting as a feeder system for
Yeah.
the major political parties.
Yeah.
Its debates and internal elections were fiercely contested and provided invaluable experience in grassroots mobilization and leadership
Yeah,
for many future leaders, including Rajasekharan.
absolutely.
So reaching a state-level position within such a dynamic organization early in his life
Right.
suggests a natural ability to connect with people and articulate his vision effectively
Mm.
right from the start.
And then from the KSU, he transitions into the Youth Congress.
Right.
And again, he wasn't just on the periphery. He
Mhm.
served as a state office bearer there, too.
Hmm.
It really speaks to that demanding and competitive nature of Kerala politics, right?
It really does.
You have to be constantly engaged, constantly proving your dedication and your ability to lead.
It's a really interesting point because serving as a state office bearer in both the KSU and the Youth Congress
Right.
indicates a sustained commitment to political life.
Yeah.
And a consistent ability to gain the trust of his peers across different stages of his early career.
Right.
So it really laid this solid foundation for understanding his subsequent ascent within the Indian National Congress.
Yeah, which leads us to his journey within the Congress itself.
Right.
He begins as the president of the Kollam District Congress Committee,
Right.
the DCC,
Mhm.
and that strikes me as a really significant role.
Yeah.
It's where the party's presence is truly felt on the ground.
Yes.
It's the engine room of local political organization.
Absolutely. Being a DCC president involves managing the day-to-day affairs of the party in a specific district.
Yeah.
This includes coordinating activities, resolving local disputes, and preparing for elections at the grassroots level.
Right.
It's a demanding position that
Yeah.
requires strong organizational skills and a deep understanding of the local political landscape
Yeah.
and the specific needs and concerns of the community.
Absolutely. And from that crucial ground level role, he steadily climbs within the KPCC,
Mhm.
becoming general secretary, then vice president,
Right.
and ultimately a member of the political affairs committee.
Wow.
Feels like each step was built upon the experience gained the previous one.
Yeah.
This gradual accumulation of influence and a
Wow.
deepening understanding of the state level political dynamics.
Well, that progression speaks volumes about his political acumen and his ability to navigate the complexities of a large political organization.
right.
Each of those roles carries increasing responsibility and requires a broader strategic perspective.
Yeah.
His presence in the Political Affairs Committee in particular signifies his involvement in key decision-making processes within the party,
Right.
suggesting he had earned the trust and respect of his colleagues
Yeah.
at the highest levels of the state leadership.
One aspect that I found really fascinating was his reputation for navigating that often tricky factionalism
Oh, yeah.
within the Congress Party.
Right.
He was apparently seen as leaning towards A.K. Antony's group. Yet he also maintained a broader perspective. That
Yeah.
sounds like a delicate and crucial political skill.
It is. Factionalism is often a reality in large political parties.
Yeah.
And the ability to maintain relationships across different groups while still having your own affiliations
Right.
is a valuable political skill.
Mm.
It suggests an ability to see beyond immediate partisan interests
Yeah.
and potentially act as a bridge between different viewpoints,
Right.
fostering the degree of unity even amidst internal divisions.
Then there was that incident back in 2020
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
with the posters in Kollam accusing him of aligning with the RSS.
Mhm.
He firmly dismissed those allegations.
Wow.
And as far as I know, no concrete evidence ever surfaced.
Yeah.
It really throws a spotlight on the kind of accusations and political maneuvering
Yeah, it does.
that can occur.
It does indeed. Political life often involves navigating not only policy debates,
Right.
but also personal attacks and sometimes unfounded accusations.
Absolutely.
His swift dismissal of the allegations
Mhm.
and the subsequent lack of any supporting evidence suggests that this was likely a case of internal political maneuvering
Yeah.
rather than a genuine shift in his ideological alignment.
Right.
It highlights the sometimes turbulent nature of the political arena.
But his life wasn't solely confined to party politics.
Right.
He had this whole other dimension beginning with his presidency of the Kerala Sports Council. I can almost picture him throwing himself into that role with enthusiasm, perhaps seeing it as a chance to champion young athletes and promote a more active lifestyle across the state.
It's certainly interesting to consider his involvement in sports administration.
Yeah.
It suggests a broader interest in public life extending beyond the strictly political sphere.
Right.
Perhaps he saw it as an opportunity to contribute to the development of young talent,
Hmm.
instill values of discipline and teamwork, and promote a healthier society. It definitely adds another layer to his already multifaceted career.
And then there were his contributions to the cooperative sector, serving as both president and vice president of the state cooperative bank. Now, for some, the cooperative sector might not seem immediately glamorous,
Yeah.
but it plays such a vital and often understated role in the economic fabric of rural Kerala, doesn't it?
It really does. The cooperative sector is vital for the economic well-being of many in Kerala,
Yeah.
providing access to credit, supporting agriculture,
Right.
and fostering local economies. And during his time at the State Cooperative Bank, he was actually instrumental in implementing policies that streamlined loan processes for agricultural workers,
Oh, wow.
directly addressing a major pain point for the rural economy, as your sources likely detail.
Right.
His leadership in these institutions would have involved significant responsibility
Yeah.
in ensuring their stability and effectiveness, directly impacting the livelihoods of ordinary citizens.
And what's remarkable, too, is that on top of all this, he was a journalist,
Oh, yeah.
president of the Kollam Press Club, and the managing editor of Vikshanam, which is the Congress Party's newspaper.
Wow.
You can almost imagine him in a bustling newsroom,
I know.
engaging in lively discussions about the day's headlines,
Yeah.
shaping the narrative around political events.
His involvement in journalism provides another crucial lens
Yeah.
through which to understand his deep engagement with public life.
Right.
As a journalist and editor, he would have been actively shaping narratives, offering commentary on current events from a particular perspective,
Right.
and contributing to the political discourse within the state.
Mm-hmm.
It highlights his understanding of the power of communication
Yeah.
and its role in shaping public opinion.
Absolutely. And as if all of that wasn't enough to keep him busy,
Right.
he also served as a director on the governing body of the Life Insurance Corporation of India, representing the central government.
Wow.
So that really underscores the sheer breadth of his engagements, right?
It really does.
From that granular level of local party politics
Yeah.
all the way to a national level financial institution.
It truly does.
Yeah.
His directorship at LIC indicates a level of trust and recognition at the national level,
Right.
showcasing his ability to contribute to diverse sectors of governance and public service.
Yeah.
It's a testament to his wide-ranging experience, his understanding of complex organizational structures, and his capacity to operate effectively in different environments.
Of course, in the world of politics, not every endeavor leads to victory. And he did contest elections for both Parliament and the Kerala State Assembly. And he also made a bid for the Rajya Sabha. While these attempts weren't ultimately successful, it seems like he maintained a commitment to public service
Right.
that went beyond just holding elected office.
Well, that's a really important observation because electoral defeats are an inherent part of political life.
Right.
And his continued willingness to contest, even after facing setbacks,
Yeah.
speaks volumes about his resilience and his enduring commitment to public service.
Right.
It suggests that his motivation was rooted in a desire to contribute to the betterment of society, regardless of whether he held a specific public mandate at any given time.
And then there's his foray into the world of authorship.
Right.
With Maruna Indian Rashtrayam and Indian Rashtrayam 2019.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
These books sound like his way of reflecting on his extensive experience and sharing his insights into the evolution of Indian politics.
Yeah, and given his long and varied career, these books likely offer a unique perspective on the shift from consensus-based politics to a more confrontational approach.
Yeah.
A trend. Rajasekharan, having witnessed decades of political evolution, offered some compelling first-hand accounts of.
On a more personal note, he had his family, his wife Oeader Rajasekharan, and their children. It's a good reminder that behind every public figure, there's this network of personal relationships that provide support and a sense of grounding amidst the demands of public life.
Absolutely. Family often serves as a crucial anchor for individuals in public life, providing a sense of stability and perspective.
All right.
Amidst the demands and pressures of their careers. It's the personal sphere that often sustains and motivates their public endeavors.
It's also fascinating to consider his roots in Sooranad.
Right.
And his connection to the renowned Malayalam scholar Sooranad Rajasekharan.
Oh, yeah.
That familial link really underscores a deep connection to intellect, to the power of language, and to the rich cultural heritage of Kerala.
And given his family's intellectual background, it wouldn't be surprising if his writings and journalistic work reflected that influence, perhaps with a particular focus on nuanced language or a rigorous analytical approach.
Yeah, and it was noted that his funeral in Chattanooga was understated, in accordance with his wishes. Right. That seems to speak volumes about his character.
It does.
Perhaps indicating a preference for more modest remembrance, focusing on his contributions, rather than elaborate displays.
A quiet funeral by his own wishes does indeed speak volumes about his character.
Right.
It suggests a preference for simplicity and perhaps a desire to be remembered for his actions and the impact he had on the various spheres he engaged with, rather than through grand ceremonies. It reflects a certain humility and focus on substance.
So when you step back and look at the totality of Dr. Sooranad Rajasekharan's life, you see this remarkable consistency of engagement across such a wide array of fields: politics, journalism, the cooperative sector, even literature. He was a constant presence, contributing in diverse ways for many years.
He was indeed. His key contribution appears to be this sustained effort and deep dedication across these multiple domains.
Right.
He wasn't just someone who briefly touched upon these areas. He committed himself to each of these roles, bringing his experience and insights to bear, and contributing in meaningful and lasting ways.
And I think the core takeaway here is that impact isn't always about those massive headline-grabbing victories. Often it's about that consistent effort, that unwavering commitment to your community and your principles, even when you're not always in the brightest spotlight. It really makes you consider how each of us in our own spheres of influence can contribute meaningfully over the long term.
Absolutely.
Through dedicated engagement.
That's a really powerful reflection to end on.
Yeah.
His life reminds us that lasting impact can be achieved through consistent engagement and service, regardless of whether every endeavor culminates in resounding public success. It encourages us to consider the value of showing up, contributing our skills and passions, and making a difference within our own communities and fields of endeavor, drawing inspiration from a life so richly and diversely lived.